Hello, it's Dr. Ginny here, founder of Slender for Good, and I love to help people lose all their excess weight in a healthy and sustainable way. Are you ready to learn what steps it actually takes to become slender and stay slender for good? Because it took me many years to figure them out, but now that I have, I'm ready to teach you. So I hope that you also watched my first video in this series where I talked about why our weight loss approaches are failing us. It's helpful to understand that so you can understand the difference between an approach that will work and the ones that don't. And I hope that you watched my other video where I talk about how our environment is continually setting us up to gain excess weight by continually setting us up to overeat. And today I'm going to share the 7 steps that I discovered are really essential and that work together in a coherent way to becoming slender and staying slender for the rest of our lives. And I'm also going to tell you about my 7-step Big Results Slender for Good program in the middle of the video, so listen for that too. Now, it took years for me to figure out all the pieces that it took, and I had gotten way overweight. I had been overeating, I guess, and had been putting on pounds for year after year, month after month. And in my mid-50s, I really was getting concerned. I had tried a whole lot of ways to lose weight, and I wasn't having success. And I was not only really overweight and really uncomfortable with my body and the clothes sizes I was in, but I also was really starting to slow down. I was walking like a 90-year-old woman a lot, and I was very aware of it. Like, why am I walking so slowly? I had a lot of brain fog, and I was having trouble thinking clearly, and I had a lot of chronic pain and inflammation, and I really could see myself headed for the nursing home way too early if I didn't do something to change this. So I got really committed, and I started applying myself to studying the best literature. I quit looking at all the confusing information out there, and I looked at the research. You know, what do we know about eating and weight loss and habit change? And as I put these pieces in place, little by little, I achieved the big results that I was looking for and lost all my excess weight and really regained so much health and vitality. And now I'm helping my clients do the same thing, having them follow the same 7-step system that I figured out for myself. And when you apply these 7 steps, you can have the same transformation too. But I want you to understand, it's not like, just do one of these and then, drop that one and start another one. You have to do this in a coherent kind of way. It's kind of like, I don't know if any of you are gardeners, but I got excited about the idea of having a garden by watching my neighbor with her beautiful gardens. And I thought, I want a beautiful garden. So I went and got pretty flowers and I planted them. And I went about my business, And at some point I decided to go look and see, how's that garden doing? I wonder how beautiful it is now. And when I went to look, it wasn't beautiful. It was a mess. And I could hardly see any of the plants I had planted, and there were weeds everywhere. And for those of you who garden, different plants require different kinds of nutrients. Some require more sun and some require more water. And some you really have to work at getting the pests off them. You have to keep pests away. And you really have to weed a garden in order to have the plants there that you want instead of the really aggressive ones that will take over and kill those. And it's very similar with our bodies. Our bodies are complex adaptive systems, and we can't just do one thing or do a hodgepodge of things and think that we're going to have the results that we desire. It doesn't work. Not that it's this confusing, impossible to understand situation to be able to eat in a way that's healthy, but it is a series of pieces that you have to put together in a coherent way. So now let's go and let's learn about the 7 steps, all right? I found there are 7 steps to master in order to lose all your excess weight in a healthy and sustainable way. And I'm going to review these today in this video, and you'll see how following these steps will get you to your goal. The 7 steps to Slender for Good all work together to make your weight loss work. So when you hear one and think, everybody knows that, I invite you to hold on and keep listening, because what I discovered was you can achieve your full weight loss goal and become more healthy when you apply all 7 steps in a coherent way. So the first step is to prioritize slenderful eating. When you're truly ready to lose weight and get healthy, you need to make health, weight, and nutrition a real priority in your life because it won't happen by default. As I talked about in a previous video, when it comes to eating, making ease and convenience the priority leads to really lousy results. The most convenient foods tend to be highly processed and low in nutritional value, and they tend to cause cravings and lead to excess weight and disease. So changing your purpose and approach relative to eating is the first key to getting slender for good. You need to make healthy, slenderful eating a priority. You can find time-saving ways to prepare nutritious food, but you do need to carve out some time in your life for food preparation. Second, you need to master the psychology of slenderful eating. I learned there's a set of eating habits we need to change in order to eat to be slender and healthy and happy. And changing these habits invariably requires changing our minds, our attitudes, beliefs, and mindsets. See, our eating habits have developed out of a bunch of different influences since we were very young children. And we've absorbed a lot of preferences and beliefs about eating that are very unconscious. And now, to become slender and to stay slender, we need to change some of those beliefs. I found it's really important to help my clients discover any mindsets that are holding back their weight loss. For example, I work with a lot of women who carry a lot of responsibilities in their lives, and they often take care of others, even at their own expense. And I found that this has a cost. And part of that cost is a common mindset that I deserve this when it comes to certain indulgences, say after a meal or in between meals or after dinner. So we have to address that mindset. Do we deserve a diet full of unhealthy treats which gives us excess weight, low energy, and ill health? Or do we deserve a rich, healthy, fulfilling life in a real sense? The third step is that we need to master slenderful eating by eating more highly nutritious foods. It's really important to get very clear about which foods to eat more of and to discover the best ways to enjoy the best foods, because eating more highly nutritious foods empowers your healthy weight loss in so many important ways. See, I studied the literature in a lot of depth, and I gained key insights about which foods truly are connected with a slender body and good health and longevity, and which supposedly so-called healthy foods are not. And I've met so many people who feel they're eating healthy because they've built the core of their eating plan on highly processed food-like substances that are marketed as healthy. And they often have no idea they're eating a very low nutrition diet that keeps them sick and overweight. So we do have some individual differences in which foods are best for us to eat, but the healthiest, most slenderful foods in general to eat are whole basic foods like I show here on this slide, like fruits and vegetables, beans and legumes, whole grains, and nuts and seeds. So when you think about it, these foods should take up the majority of your plate at mealtime. In general, most of us need to greatly increase the amount of highly nutritious whole foods we eat in order to lose weight and get healthier. But there's great news here. Number one, these foods become very tasty and satisfying once you learn how to prepare them. And number two, eating more of these highly nutritious foods helps you become healthier and more energetic, and also helps you reduce the foods that are making you overweight and sick and aging you prematurely. We can almost feel our bodies breathe a sigh of relief that we're finally paying attention and giving them nutritious foods. And along with that, we need to eliminate cravings to master slenderful eating. For most of us, cravings have defeated our weight loss in the past. In step 4, we learn and implement effective strategies to get rid of cravings so we can happily eat a much healthier diet. Our weight loss food plan won't work if we're trying to force ourselves to eat foods we don't like. But most of us do need to reduce the craveable, high-calorie, low-nutrition foods that make us overeat and gain weight. Most of us need to completely eliminate the craving-inducing foods that we tend to overeat for at least 90 days or so. And I know you may feel uncomfortable when we talk about cutting out craveable foods. Maybe there's some food you adore, like chips or bread or ice cream or red wine, and we can develop quite an attachment to certain foods and drinks, and we may get worried about the idea of being asked to cut those foods and drinks out. But you may be surprised at how much easier it is than you imagine to walk away from the foods that make you overweight and unhealthy. Many of us are amazed at how good we feel when we eat a lot more of the nutritious foods. When we eliminate the super craveable foods, we eliminate cravings. And when you get the worst fattening junk out of your life, nutritious foods become so much tastier. It's just like how we need to cut the weeds out of our garden to have the beautiful flowers. You need to cut out the destructive so-called foods to make room for the new, slender you. Listen, many of us have discovered through painful failures that most weight loss programs don't work. Whether cravings, stress eating, or our invisible mindsets derail us, 99% of the time our weight loss efforts fail. And even when we do manage to release excess weight, we tend to gain it all back. In spite of a multi-billion-dollar weight loss industry, as a population, we keep getting more and more overweight. It's so discouraging. That's why I created the 7-Step Slender for Good program. Once I finally figured this out, I really wanted to help other mature women lose all their excess weight in a way they can live with for the rest of their lives. I wanted to help them maintain or regain their health, energy, and vitality. And it's so rewarding to see my clients able to really fully engage with life again. So it's completely understandable that you may feel skeptical to hear that this program works when others don't. But let me explain why. It's a very different approach. The Slender for Good program is a comprehensive approach. It's long enough and complete enough to allow you to learn and apply all the key principles for losing all your excess weight in a healthy and sustainable way. I discovered that mature women need a more comprehensive program to be able to change their eating habits and to be able to change their eating psychology to become slender for good. In fact, I started with a 6-month program, but ultimately I found that for most of my clients, a 12-month program is much better for both achieving their full weight loss goal and changing their habits and psychology in a way that they can sustain for many years to come. Second, the eating program truly works. Like I said, thousands of people have lost weight with this eating program, and it all comes down to eating in a way that works with your brain and with your body to achieve healthy, sustainable weight loss. Number 3, there are classes every month where you learn how to eat and how to change your mindsets about eating. You learn what changes are important, which ones make a real difference for getting slender and staying slender for good. And you learn why these eating and thinking changes are important. So over the course of the year, you develop a real deep understanding of how to eat to be slender, healthy, and vital. And number 4, individualized coaching makes all the difference for so many people. We have just too much history of overeating mindsets and habits in our lives, and our environment is constantly leading us astray. With all the conflicting and confusing advice and information out there, combined with bad habits that we've developed over the years, we often end up at odds with ourselves. It makes all the difference when you get expert help and get your own coach. So those are the 7 steps you need to implement to achieve your weight loss goals. I've shared 4 of them, and I'm going to share the other 3 soon. Now you can take the information from this video and you can implement this and achieve your own great results. And if you know you'd like help and you're ready to take the next step, you can click the box to sign up for a complimentary weight loss discovery call, and we can talk about getting you enrolled in the program and ready to lose all your excess weight. But now let me share the last 3 steps of the highly effective 7-Step Slender for Good approach. The 5th step is that you need to master the when and how of slenderful eating. There are important meal timing and schedule issues that facilitate weight loss and achieving and maintaining a right-sized body. You need to institute a meal schedule that works with, not against, your brain and body. The idea that we can eat on and off all day long is not helping us when it comes to our weight and our health. Step number 6, you need to master slenderful quantities. You need to know how much food to eat to become slender and how much to eat to stay slender. You need to use an effective approach to managing quantities to become and stay slender and healthy. So how do you figure out how much of the different types of foods to eat? I'll tell you, if you want to self-implement, some of the food plans that have proven the most successful for people were developed in the 12-step programs like Food Addicts Anonymous and Overeaters Anonymous. They've had decades of success guiding thousands of people to change their eating and lose weight, and their food plans are proven to be effective for serious weight loss. I personally used Food Addicts Anonymous food plan for figuring out the quantities part of my weight loss journey, and I use related guidelines to help my clients find the right amounts of different types of foods to eat for weight loss and to figure out how much of the different types of foods to add back in to maintain their slender, right-sized bodies once they achieve their goals. And number 7 is that you need to individualize your slenderful eating plan so it works for you and your life. There is a set of principles and guidelines that are effective for slenderful eating, and your plan must adhere to these. But you also need to individualize the plan so it works for you. for your way of thinking, your approach to habit change. We're quite different when it comes to our approaches to habit change. It needs to fit your preferences, your likes and dislikes, and any particular health and nutrition issues you're managing, etc. So those are the 7 steps to becoming slender for good. I think you can see you can achieve your full goal when you put these 7 steps together in a coherent way. So I hope this is really helpful. I hope you can really see how following these 7 steps would get you to slender and healthy for the rest of your life. And now you need to go and put these into practice. That's the only thing that's going to work, right? Not just learning about them, but really putting them into practice. And if you know you would like some help doing this, I encourage you to look into joining the 7-Step Slender for Good program. We are starting a new program on October 5th. And the way that you get into the program is by scheduling a weight loss discovery call with me so that we can talk about the approach and make sure that it's a really good fit for you. I really look forward to seeing you. Click on the button to schedule a weight loss discovery call. When you go there, it's going to ask a few questions. It's going to be a little survey that helps us make sure we make the best use of our time. But I really look forward to meeting you. Thanks.